The white piece of paper that you all were using it to.
Put it down, but yeah, we use it for my balance.
Tell me when you all are ready. Okay, good afternoon. I'm Chief Ryan Burge Sr., B-U-R-G-E. To my left is Officer Day, Investigator Villegas. Behind me is Commander Moore. To my right is Commander Burge Jr. And to the right of him is Commander Jaco. We're calling this press conference because an update on the incident that happened on April 1st. As you all are aware, April 1st, we were called to a scene at 14227 Lincoln Avenue. We removed approximately 11 children from the house, along with an elderly person. And I want to thank and commend the fine men of Dixmoor Police Department for the long hours that they put in. I also want to acknowledge the Department of Aging, who came out immediately and assisted us with moving the elderly person, the State's Attorney's Office, and DCFS, when they finally arrived, they did their job. And we want to thank everybody because it was a team effort. But what I want to do is give you an update because I said I would, and I've been getting calls from the press in reference to what's going on. We charged 2 people. The first person, as you all are aware, we charged Giovanni Davis and Chiquita King, both for child endangerment and child neglect, which were misdemeanors. We also did an additional charge, a felony charge, with Chiquita King for elderly neglect, which is a Class 3 felony for neglecting a 70-year-old female who we found out was her mother. As the community knows, and as we know, this kind of touched the community. This is a small community, approximately 2 miles, right under 4,000 people. And we took this very seriously, and we want to just make sure that everyone knows and everyone's aware that this case has been wrapped up and the appropriate charges have been put forward. Any questions?
Can you describe the ages of the children and just what condition they were in?
They were 2 to 12 years old. The conditions, the children hadn't been fed. They were not well kept. And the house was deplorable.
Can you just describe, I know you did this the other day, but just today again, just walk us through the inside of this house. I mean, just room by room, what did your officers see in there?
Well, you saw the elderly lady, a 70-year-old lady who was laying on a soil mattress with a soil diaper on that hadn't been changed. The house reeked the smell of marijuana. There was no food in the refrigerator. There was holes in the wall, throughout the walls. There was mice droppings. There was pots and pans on top of the stove that had probably been sitting there for an extended period of time. At this point, the house has a no occupancy order, so no one's allowed into the house until it passes an inspection.
And the relationship of these 2 women, are they sisters?
They're both sisters.
Oh, they're sisters, and then it was one of, are they half sisters?
They're half sisters.
Half sisters, and then Chiquita King's mother was the elderly
Correct.
woman.
You have King and Davis, and you have King, whose kids live there, along with Davis's kids who live there, and then you had the mother. So you had a person who was responsible for taking care of the mother and the children, and she failed to do so.
And when your officers arrived at the house, the 2 sisters weren't there, is that
No.
right? No one knew where
The
they
oldest
were.
person there was 12 years old.
Who called the police then?
We had received complaints from the neighbors in the neighborhood about the kids roaming throughout the community, and plus we were doing our own investigation.
Why is it a misdemeanor for the children but a felony for the elderly woman?
Well, that you have to do. The charges are approved and disapproved by the State's Attorney's Office.
Governor Pritzker, yesterday as well as today, he has been very vocal about hiring these additional caseworkers for DCFS, and I think he's given a number now of 126 caseworkers that he wants to bring on by July 1st. What's your response to that? I know you were upset about the DCFS, the response time it took for them to get to this house, or maybe, I don't know, it sounds like they may have had prior contact with these kids. What do you think about the governor's push to improve that agency based on the case here in your town?
Well, I'm glad that the governor saw fit to hire additional people for the people who are most dependent upon us as parents, as leaders, as parents. So I applaud him for that move, and I hope they get involved real quickly, and that, you know, there needs to be some changes on how you respond to certain things. But I applaud the governor for what he's done.
Do you have mugshots of these women? Are they available?
Yes, we have mugshots. We'll give them to you.
Okay.
We have mugshots of both individuals and the charges, both individuals.
Did the elderly woman have, I thought I read somewhere, she had sores or bite marks on her body? Can you describe just her physical condition besides the mattress?
The physical condition, she what appeared to be medical conditions without getting into violation of HIPAA, so I don't want to say a bunch, but she was transported to Metro South Hospital, and she was seen by the staff there.
I guess lastly, of all the investigations you guys do, I'm sure this one's, when it involves kids and this type of situation, is this, would you describe it as like the worst case of child neglect you've seen here? Or I don't know if this one hit you guys harder than normal because it's a lot of kids that were in this house.
Well, when you look at it, anytime there's an elderly person abused and children, the ones who are most dependent on it, it affects each and every one of us. I've been doing this going on 38 years. And here we have up until probably that same amount of time. But yes, it affects you. But you know, you have to keep moving on. You know, when you see kids who are hungry, and we brought them in and we fed them, and it was like they had a party, which is really sad.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
For the mugshots, are those available by email by chance?
Oh,
or do you
where?
get
They're right here.
Right, bring them in.
different shot? Oh, okay.
There's mugshot, and I'll give you.
Okay.
Who wants mugshot?
Well, we can.
They don't do that.
Yeah. I want to make sure everybody gets mugs. Oh, you got that?